Let's talk about de-escalation. When people are escalated, that's angry, frustrated, upset, they're not in a place where they can effectively resolve conflicts. Conflict resolution often requires creative problem solving, collaboration, compromise. These higher order executive functions happen in a particular part of the brain. An emotionally escalated person is literally operating in a different area of the brain, the fear and anger centers, very different regions from our creative problem solving areas. So to problem solve with someone who is emotionally escalated, we have to first de-escalate, which means we have to literally help them shift from one brain region to another. So how do we do this? To de-escalate, we first need to clearly understand what tends to escalate people. The three most common sources of emotional escalation are someone feels unsafe, they feel disrespected, or they have a problem and they feel like the person they're talking to doesn't care. So that's a real or perceived lack of safety, lack of respect, or lack of care. When we're talking about customer de-escalation techniques, the last one is typically the most common source of customer escalation. In other words, customers get angry and upset most often because they're coming to a customer-facing representative with their problem, but it seems like the rep doesn't really care. Imagine if you had an issue with a product or a service that was really stressing you out because it was affecting your life in some greater way, as is usually the case with the customers who are upset. For example, a web server customer can't get her website to work, which affects her ability to do business. An appliance customer didn't receive his new refrigerator on time, and now he has no way of keeping his family's food from rotting over the weekend. A bank customer can't withdraw money from her account, which literally affects everything in her life. And they go to the customer service agent with their issue, but the agent responds very robotically, without much compassion or empathy. Maybe gives a very weak apology, but it's obvious the agent doesn't really care about the greater or deeper stresses in their lives this issue is causing. How angry and frustrated would you feel? Many of us have had this experience, and it's the easiest way to escalate a customer situation. So if the most common source of customer escalation is a lack of perceived care, then we have to help the customer feel that we do care if we want to de-escalate. Here are a few powerful steps to de-escalate customers by showing we do care about their issue and the stress it's causing. Number one, listen and repeat. Whatever you hear from the customer before responding or trying to resolve the issue, first repeat back what you heard them say. This form of validation is an incredibly powerful way to help someone feel heard and cared for, and it can immediately help an individual calm down. In fact, studies have shown that empathic paraphrasing can actually regulate negative emotions in someone else. And not only does repeating help the customer feel heard, it also helps you ensure you've heard them correctly, so it gives them a chance to correct you if not. Here's what it might sound like from a customer service rep.
So you ordered with expedited shipping, but it hasn't gotten to you yet, and now your oven isn't even functioning and you can't cook dinner for your kids.
Or,
oh wow, okay, so your neighbor stays up all night and watches TV loudly and you can hear it through the walls.
Again, just repeat or paraphrase back what you heard. Now, step two, empathize and apologize. Empathy is not just a feeling you have, it's a feeling that you clearly express behaviorally through tone and body language. If you're face-to-face, then your facial expression and even hand gestures should contain emotionality. And whether you're face-to-face or not, your vocal tone should contain emotion as well. This lets someone know you're there with them in the issue, not simply an outsider looking in. Empathy helps people feel like they have a partner or a teammate rather than feeling so alone in their problem. And with customers specifically, apologies go a long way. But they need to be authentic. They need to be heartfelt. Apologize for what they're experiencing or going through, or apologize for anything you can take responsibility for on behalf of the company. Just don't apologize for someone's feelings, as that can sound condescending. The first two parts together might sound like this.
Okay, so you ordered with expedited shipping, but it hasn't gotten to you yet, and now your oven isn't even functioning, and you can't cook dinner for your kids. Wow, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this is happening. I really apologize for this delay. I can only imagine how stressful this is.
Or,
oh wow, okay, so your neighbor stays up all night and watches TV loudly, and you can hear it through the walls. This is so frustrating. You must be exhausted. I'm so sorry.
Using tones and words that express emotions relating to stress, frustration, or aggravation can again really help the individual feel heard and understood. So by now, feeling heard and cared for, most customers should feel at least a bit calmer than when they started and a little bit more ready to find a solution. So now it's time for the final step, reassure and resolve. You want to reassure the individual that you're in this with them, that they're not alone, and that you're not leaving until you can actually resolve the issue or find someone who can. So for example,
okay, Jane, I'm going to stay on with you until we find a solution that works. Can we take a look at your account?
Or,
okay, Tom, I'm not the right department to get this taken care of, but I'm going to stay on with you until we reach someone in the right department. I'm not going anywhere.
Or,
Dan, how about if I go talk to your neighbor and see if I can help, and I'll get back to you by 3 p.m. whether I reach them or not to give you an update. Does that sound like a good first step?
Remember, to get to problem solving, we first have to de-escalate. And that means helping someone shift out of their fight or flight centers and back into their problem solving brain, their creative regions. We can do this by helping them feel safe, respected, and for customers especially that we care about their problem and their deeper life stresses it's causing. Care is the key to de-escalating customers. Thanks so much for watching. Remember